Sorry for the bad audio. I have to do a voiceover because the mic wasn't working. What I'm doing now is I'm setting up the bees for a candy board for overwinter. This will provide them with food. It's a mixture of a little bit of water, a lot of sugar, and a little bit of white vinegar. The white vinegar is to help guard against bacteria. What I'm going to do is I have a first measure out, or first let me tell you about the combination. So it's hard to see what's written here, but basically I'm going to take 8 pounds of sugar and mix it with 1.5 cups of water and a half a tablespoon of white vinegar. 8 pounds of sugar, 1.5 cups of water, half a tablespoon of white vinegar. I mix the white vinegar and water together, and then I mix the 8 pounds of sugar with the water content, and then it becomes a brick like you see here, or somewhat like a brick. Eventually it'll dry up and it'll harden. And another thing they tell you to do when you put the mixture inside of this candy board is to leave spaces there. I forget why. But more or less I'm just going to pack this in, and I'm going to let this sit for a day or so to harden up. Because right now, if I pick this up, some sugar will fall through the spaces that's underneath the candy board. What I did first was made sure I weighed out the 4 pounds of sugar just on a digital scale. 8 pounds of sugar on a digital scale. So one of these sections is actually 8 pounds of sugar, and then the other section is another 8 pounds of sugar. So in here, what you're seeing is 16 pounds of sugar with the combination of water that I did. So basically, it was 2 cycles for me. I did one 8-pound combination with the water, set it, and then I did another one. This pitcher that I have, I know is exactly 4 pounds of sugar filled up to the top. So I would just mix in 4 pounds, stir a little bit, and then I'd mix in another 4 pounds, stir a little bit, and then I put the whole 8 pounds inside of the one side of the candy board. I prefer to use a machine that will spin it for me versus doing it by hand. Doing it by hand is miserable. So I use the Whip It Good model that you see right there, and it actually makes life a lot easier than just trying to do it by hand. It's really messy when you just try to do it by hand altogether. And this is me just showing you the process of me putting the sugar in there. Sorry for the bad angle, but there's not really much to see. And then I put some water in there, and now I'm going to just mix it up. In the end, what you see here is 32 pounds of sugar that I used. It was 8 pounds on each section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do another 4-pound mixture and fill in the gaps so it's a little bit higher. Also leave space in the front of these candy boards where the bees can get in on that side, and then over here you'll see that there's a hole. Make sure that the bees can get in there, and that's pretty much it. So in general, I would have a piece of plastic under this so you can catch all the sugar. It's gonna be a little bit of mess. And what I do is now I put these frames inside plastic, but you could just have some more plastic, put the plastic underneath, and I put it on a flat surface to just rest. And then the pine shavings is what I put on top of these frames. So this will go on top of the hive so that bees have access to it easily. And then I put pine shavings on top. The pine shavings I get from Tractor Supply, and I fill in this board. This is a top feeder that usually will house sugar water for the bees. Clearly in the winter when I'm not feeding them sugar water, I just put pine shavings in, and this helps with insulation and also collects any moisture that creates in the hive. You don't want the hive to have any moisture or water inside of the hive. These pine shavings help do that. In general, it's going to be a little bit messy. Make sure you have enough sugar. Make sure you have some white vinegar. Make sure you have water, and then a mixer so it's easier for you to pack it in and get the job done.